The Classic Metal Show and Chris Akin Presents are proud to call Rumble our official video platform. No more being censored by fucking YouTube and other big tech platforms. All segments of The Classic Metal Show and Chris Akin Presents are available now on our Rumble channel. Follow our channel at www.rumble.com/c/CMS. Want it on your TV? Just install the Rumble app on your Roku, Amazon, Apple devices, and most smart TVs. We have the other shitty platforms for the lazy people, but why watch it censored when you can see our shows the way they were meant to be presented? Subscribe at www.rumble.com/c/CMS or search The Classic Metal Show on the Rumble app. Let's go!
Hey, this is Dewey Bragg of Kill Devil Hill, and you're watching CMS TV.
And what is going on, everybody? Welcome back to yet another episode of Chris Akin Presents. Fat guy here, that's Chris Akin. Less fat guy over there, that is Erik Ferentinos. Erik, how are you doing, sir?
Doing good. Just got back from the 3 shows. It was supposed to be 4 shows, but it ended up being 3 shows this past week. I'm home for a whopping 1 day. Tomorrow I have to be on a 6:55 a.m. Flight. We're going to play Nashville, Indiana on Thursday, so we're coming in a day early. And then the King of Clubs, near,
all right,
kind of near Chris.
Down the street from me, yeah, about 3 hours, 2.5 hours from me, yeah.
Well, that's not
that'll
down the
be
street.
Good.
Yes,
it's way down the street.
Yes.
I just want to ask about the weekend a little bit, specifically about your Florida gig, because, you know, for those of us that are not traveling, all we're thinking about with Florida is that it is torn to shit because of the hurricane. So how was it?
I guess it's more case by case with the towns there, because where we went was Destin, Florida, and that was about a 3-hour drive from where we were in Biloxi, Mississippi.
Okay.
So it was about yeah, no, I do. I have to look at the calendar. I'm like, oh, I get all screwed up. No, for Halloween, to keep the Halloween theme going, I have this crazy bus, because it seems like I'm always on like a shuttle bus or something.
Sure.
And this weekend was no exception, when we had to figure out how we were getting from Biloxi, Mississippi to Destin, Florida, which is about a 3-hour drive. And kudos to Jason and our new tech that we have, Sam, which they located a party bus, which is like, you know, the party buses that people take for stuff. And they worked out a deal for them to take us the 3 hours. So we set out around like 11:30 a.m. or something, made a couple pit stops on the way, took some funny videos. And then when we got there, the guy could not get the back door open. He was like, oh man, he's like, it won't open and I don't have the key. It was like, oh shit, we have a sound check to be at, and he's got everything. He's got our luggage back there, all the guitars. So first we're thinking, okay, this guy just needs a screwdriver and he's going to fix it. He goes, he gets one from a customer that was in the lobby of the hotel. This is when we got to the Wyndham or whatever that we were staying at in town in Destin. He takes the whole handle off. He can't do anything. He's trying to figure it out. We determined that we got to start calling locksmiths to get into this. God. So this is getting crazier by the minute. The first guy comes, he doesn't know what to do with it. He takes off. Second guy comes, the Papa Lock company.
All right,
It was called
let me stop you
Papa-Lock.
right here before you go further.
All
How, just because I have one question that'll make the story make more sense. How close to actual sound check time were you?
We were close. It was supposed to be a 3:00 sound check, and we got there, to this hotel at about 2:15, 2:30, something like that.
And
So
you
we were
couldn't
just
get
going to
any
be
of your gear.
no. And you're just watching this unfold. I did put a video on my subscriber page. Every show I do a road to this town, that town, road to
Right.
Biloxi, road to Destin, where I show my, interpretation of events, if you will.
Sure.
So I show the different guys trying to get into this back of this truck, and it was just getting sillier and sillier. At one point, the guy had those inflatable things, like you're trying to pop a safe or something. It's
Yeah.
had pads stuck in there, trying to like get in there and see what's happening. And we were gonna go inside this bus and like start taking the seats out and try to like take the partition out. Like it was getting crazy. The methods that were being thought of. I said, hey, we should shoot it. We should have the cops come and just shoot it. I was ridiculous. I knew that was not a good idea, but I just did it to be funny. Then the guy was trying to get authorization, like, hey, can we peel this door open? Like, can we just just pry it and destroy the door forever? And we're trying to get authorization from the owner of the actual company. And meanwhile, the clock's ticking. Now it's like hour and a half late, for sound check. Finally, the Papa-Lock company calls the owner of the Papa-Lock company to show up. This guy ends up saving the day. He comes over and he's like, he looks at it. They put everything kind of back together and put the handle back on, and he's like muscling it. And then finally it just broke and he gets it open. And what was it? It was Johnny Monaco's suitcase, like popping the little contraption from like,
Right.
basically needed to go, and it couldn't, because it wasn't Johnny's fault, by the way. The driver packed the van. But it's a little like design flaw that you would be able to have such an incident happen, because you're putting probably luggage or something back there. And if this thing had a protective like box or something on the inside that kept something from that, it would be able to swing no matter what, that you wouldn't put anything there, it would protect it. That wouldn't happen. But this is like a potential hazard. All drivers of that bus now, party bus, have to know not to push luggage or make sure it's not going to fall and stop that thing from opening. It's going to be a pain in the ass. So it was about 2 hours it took to get that. So we finally got our luggage, and then we zipped down there. The sound check, took a good hour and a half. We basically had time just to rip back to the hotel and get ready and come right back there. We didn't even really have transpo. We had some friends that helped us out, so thank you to them.
Okay.
Robin, one of my friends out there, her and her boyfriend shuffled some of us back and forth, but we made it happen. It was a great crowd in Destin. So if you were at the Destin show, thank you. That was a lot of fun. Stephen had a great time as well. Most of the shows were good. My only problem I had was at the first one where we played in Roanoke. At the Dr. Pepper Park, and that I'm happy to report wasn't my fault. It turns out it was the backline company had a problem with the amp they gave me in the cabinet, and the cabinet that went out for whatever reason, whether it was a bad speaker cable or whatever happened. That's all their stuff. You know what I mean? I bring my guitar, I bring my pedal board that's got my sounds on it, and I just have like one cable that goes into the back of their amp that they supply. But they had mic'd the bottom cabinet that went out. So like my guitar went out during the show, and they weren't much help. Like the way these things work, they have like a backline company, and then they have the sound company, which is different, which they do the monitors in the front of the house, but they're not the backline company. And we're not a band that travels with our equipment. You know what I mean? We're like many bands that fly out and a backline company supplies the stuff. But if they have like subpar anything, like a bad cable can derail a whole deal. You know what I mean? And I do remember looking at those cables, and they looked like really old. They looked like they were from like the 90s or something. You could just kind of tell by the what do you call them? The input things, the quarter-inch jacks or whatever. You could you could just
see
kind
the
of
nicks and tears in the metal of them.
Well, I don't know. It just looks old timey. Like this looks like it was from the 60s or something. I don't know. It was like kind of weird, and I just kind of went with it. But that was just a bad luck for me that happened on that night. And they probably jumped the gun saying that I needed to switch amps. I think it was just a cable, but ultimately the mic needed to be moved over to the other, speaker cabinet. But when they switched the amp, then it was just like there was no sound check for that amp. So that amp was like totally way too loud. And like the monitor guy, I don't know what was going on. He had like me blaring out of the side fills on the stage, which that was never asked for by us. And I have those in-ear monitors, so I don't notice that sort of thing. It doesn't matter what's going on stage. I hear my mix that I was controlling. So it was just like a holy shit. It was one of those things where you have to acknowledge during the show, like we had to stop a song and start over. Just one of those fucking lame kind of shows. I'm sure it wasn't that bad to them, and we did get it going. We were able to play, but it just kind of screwed up the whole sound of everything. And then having a problem, having to start something over. So this little run of shows for me personally started off with a few hitches, so I was going, oh, is this how it's going to be? And then the next show was supposed to be the Bret Michaels Party Gras. All right. And that took a shit. Like, I don't know, it was ticket sales or whatever, but this whoever promoter decided to just cut it.
Sure.
And so we all lost out on our pay for that show. We had to like all switch our plane tickets to go to Biloxi earlier because there was a casino. We're going to a casino, and that seemed like the logical choice. So we got out of there. Then it turns out Vixen cancels. They were supposed to open the show. I still don't know exactly what happened. I think it might have something to do with Roxy Petrucci, but some medical issue that she had, and they had to pull out of the show.
Oh boy.
Did you hear anything more about that or anything?
I haven't. I mean, I had heard that there was something going on, but there's nothing out there. And Vixen is a surprisingly private band. You really don't. For a band that's been around as long as they are, you really don't hear a whole lot about them. Like day to day, like issues or anything. And I didn't see anything in the news about her being ill or sick or Now, if they cancel a string of shows or something, I'm sure someone would be like, "Hey, what the fuck's going on here?" But for now, nothing's out there.
It worked out all right. They had us play longer, so in the crowd, that was a great crowd too. In Biloxi, they were very enthusiastic, and we played for like 75 minutes instead of the 45 that we were originally going to play. So no complaints from the crowd, and also I was able to determine that my stuff works fine, that it was definitely their shit from the first Roanoke show. Same for Destin. It was an awesome show. All the gear was perfect, and that's it. We made it back, and I'm just here for one day. Chris has a big engagement today that he's doing. What is this thing again? It's a speaking engagement.
Yeah, it's not a huge thing. I'm doing a talk with a book club here in town. My friend Carrie's a member of this book club, and she asked me if I would come and speak, to talk about my burn book. So and I do these probably 2, maybe 3 times a year. Somebody will ask me to come and speak at something, whether it's a library or in January I spoke for the University of East Anglia in the UK. Wow. I did that in January. So I do these a couple times a year. To me, they're fun. I mean, it's weird. I put on Facebook, I said, yeah, these are fun if you can find fun in being nearly burned to death. But, I'm doing that as you watch this, people, because we're not live. But
but we're nice enough to record a show for you early just to make sure you got one.
That's right. It is. It's today. About 1:30 in the afternoon here on whatever day today is, Tuesday. So it's a little before. I mean, it's almost live. Wouldn't you say it's almost live? A couple hours early, but
yeah.
But yeah, I'm doing the speaking thing tonight. I'll be talking about my Call Me Chris book, and I'll be taking a bunch of questions and answering them. And dude, the funniest thing is the first thing I had to ask is, do I got to be clean? That's the first thing I asked is, what's the language restriction? Not even do I talk about this or that or whatever. It's, can I say fuck? That's really what it comes down to.
I really want to say it.
Well, it's just who I am. And it's in the book, in the
Yeah.
book I use language. And of course I got the, well, you can, but the yes, you can, but please don't. I got that answer, which is fine. I can be FCC friendly, I guess, tonight. So
Nice. I had to throw an expletive on my flight home last night because
why?
They had a huge dude that was working the attendant job or whatever, where you push the cart, and somehow this guy just he pushed the cart right into my kneecap. And my knee wasn't even really sticking out. I mean, you have to be careful when you're pushing those carts, like you can go start turning into somebody's seat. And that's more so what happened. But he was just like, and I was like, God damn it. It was like super loud. And I was like, and they're like, sorry, sir. And the other one comes, and then he just kept going. Like, it was
not even a free drink for you.
Well, he didn't even give me the drink you're supposed to get. You're supposed to get a drink and a cookie or whatever. And he didn't give me the drink. And I was like, oh. They're so, are you going to be okay? So the woman came up to do damage control. And I was like, yeah, well, can I at least get a drink? And I didn't mean, she thought I meant like an alcoholic drink. Yeah. But I just went my coffee. I want like a coffee, but she's like, do you want a drink? We'll give you a drink. And I was like, no, I'm on my medication. I can't take drinks. Just give me a coffee. That's fine. That was like, I kind of was a little over dramatic about it. I think I was like, I was kind of sleeping when it happened. So it just startled me more than anything, but I have a little bruise there. Anyways,
dude, she's happy. She should be happy you didn't ask for the flight for free like most people would have.
I thought about it. I'm like, how many miles can I get for this?
Yeah. And most people would. Most people, the slightest inconvenience to them, and I'm not saying that's a slight inconvenience, but most people, if they got their foot stepped on or something, they're saying, I want my flight free for the next 10 years.
They typically, miles are the easiest thing for them to do because most people don't travel that much, so they probably won't even use them. I have gotten miles for inconveniences on the plane. Let me see, what else was it? What did they give me? Oh God, I'm having a brain fart right now. Anyways, moving on.
They gave you miles. That's what.
They gave. Oh no, I know what I was going to say. The other way they do it is if my luggage doesn't come off as a Delta Sky Priority. If my luggage doesn't pop right off within 20 minutes, you can fill out a form, and they'll give you miles as an apology for that.
Okay.
I got my one bag within 20 minutes, but my guitars took about 30 minutes to get. Which seems like an eternity, when you're getting home from a week-long run and you just want to get home and you still have to go to Wally Park to get your car and all this, and they're taking a half an hour to get you your bag after you spent a half an hour just trying to get off the plane. And of course, it went over on the parking, so I had to pay extra at the parking garage to get my car out. I'm like, God damn it! I might still fill that thing out because that did just that extra 15 minutes to get my bag. Kind of screws everything up.
Well, and dude, you should. Do you pay for that? You pay for that service, right?
Well, I mean, it's a benefit. It's a benefit of being of my status. Yeah.
It's a benefit of flying 8 million miles or whatever it is that you've flown.
Yeah, I'm like a platinum medallion. Member. So
you have paid for it indirect, or Stephen's paid for it, whatever. Right. It's been paid for. It's not like they're just giving it to you because they like seeing you.
You got to spend it's like $100,000, in flights, to get that status, and they do put it on there. They have like a special Sky Priority, hurry it up thing that they loop onto your handle and stick it. And so
how do they prove the time? Is there a scan thing? There's a scan thing?
They have all that. They have a couple different stickers with barcodes that get scanned. And typically Delta does a pretty good job. Like I've only had one time this year where a bag came in on the next flight, and that was the only time. And I just waited. It was less than an hour. I had to wait for it. But otherwise, they got it down pretty good. But sometimes it's different stuff. The last one of those I filled out was on the last trip. One of the carousels broke down in the airport, and they weren't telling us which carousel they were going to bring it out on. They just moved on with their day with all the other planes.
Right.
And we were all sitting there like jackasses for like 40 minutes waiting for our bags. I was like calling their customer service. You need to tell somebody. I was like going full Karen on this whole thing. And then that's how I learned about the form. Like you can send out a form. I think they gave me like 2,500 miles or something for my inconvenience.
Right.
Yeah, whatever. I have like hundreds and hundreds of thousands of miles on my, disposal. If I want, where do I want to go? I don't even know. I don't even know where I want to go. I want to go to bed.
Yeah, I was going to say at this point, is going somewhere even considered fun?
Right. It would have to be somewhere pretty exotic. I'd probably have to leave the country for it to be, really that much of a.
But you did
carrot.
Like a year ago, or earlier. Was it this year or last year? Whenever you did the cruise. And I mean, you said you had fun, but you haven't brought it up since. So it isn't like you had that much fun.
Oh, I had so much fun in Haiti. That's not where I would consider going on a vacation. Right. I mean, you can't even go to that place anymore. It's been totally overrun, and there's like it's lawless over there right now. They stopped taking cruises over to there. No, I would say like I would go to Greece maybe, or Europe or Hawaii perhaps if I want to go somewhere closer. I've never been to Hawaii. I would choose maybe something like that. Wow. Somewhere I haven't seen or I'd want to experience.
I'm surprised you guys have never played Hawaii.
No, they don't have a lot of shows out there. They don't need to do that. You know what I mean? They have enough
that's true.
Tourist stuff. They don't ever have to try to get more people there.
Yeah, if you go to Hawaii, the last thing you're doing is going to a show. You're going to the beach.
I mean, they do have their sporting events and stuff, I'm sure, but it's not a big place.
Now I'm thinking about it, they really don't have they don't have any professional teams or anything in Hawaii, and
they must have like a college.
They have a college, but it's not like Ohio State or Nebraska or Michigan or one of those. I mean, it's like a third tier college, the University of Honolulu. It's not a powerhouse in any sport as far as I know. I don't think I've ever heard of anybody coming from the University of Hawaii or I think it's Honolulu. But
did Barack Obama come from there? No.
Yeah, if you believe like if it wasn't Egypt or wherever they say he really was from, but
right.
Dude, this is the briefest political thing I want to get into.
Okay.
And it's not political, but it's just because I know you pay attention to this stuff on a very different level than I do.
Yes.
What is your take of the Trump stopping and working at the McDonald's?
Well, on the surface level, that just seems like a typical goofy PR thing that politicians do. I did see a photo of that. I didn't really dive into that. What were your thoughts on it?
I just saw him doing it, and I hate to admit it, but I'm going to admit it. You've got me completely warped to everything now because I can't watch anything anymore without thinking, what is this covering up? Why is he doing this? Is there some Illuminati enterprise that owns the McDonald's that needs him to be, is our
French fries child trafficking icons? No.
Yeah. Is he there because he's pushing the GMO of Big Macs?
He is known for like eating crappy. And he's not a, fit man by any stretch, but he's kind of, he laughs that he likes the McDonald's and then he's on a plane eating McDonald's all the time. It's almost like he's sponsored by him, and that's
well, it is Donald's, just McDonald's.
Oh, that's true. I never thought of it like that.
Maybe it's MAGA-Donald's.
McDonald's Trumps.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I don't know. I just saw it, and again, I wasn't trying to get into a political discussion at all. I just was curious if you had seen anything on the deep darkness of Reddit that was like, see, this is just proof that
did this have also something to do with Kamala, because she said that allegedly she worked at a McDonald's, but then it turns out that there's no record of her ever working at a McDonald's.
Yeah, of course she lied. Big shock.
Yeah.
Big shock there. Yeah, she's cracking. That's been funny to watch. Is she's been drunk at events and stuff, or seems to be. I can't say for sure, but she's like talking all slow and shit. She's like, if you
medicated.
Yeah, totally. Like she's cracking under the pressure. And why not? I mean, it is a lot of pressure. I will say that it is a lot of pressure.
Definitely, also a lot of pressure for someone who's probably should only be like vice principal at a inner city school somewhere at best.
If that. All I know is I see her with her stupid word vomit that she puts out there every day, and all I can think of is how did she ever win a case as a lawyer? She was a prosecutor or a lawyer or something. Mm-hmm. How did she ever win a case? You know, just talking, Mr. Johnson, did you kill that woman? Objection, Your Honor. When I was raised in a middle-class family, we never discussed. It's like, shut up.
Right. I think that I vaguely remember seeing something like they weren't able to find cases that she worked on either.
Yeah.
Even that's like fabricated in a lot of ways.
She's put together by the powers that be. She really is.
The powers that should not be.
But controlled by them. I don't want to say put together because she's not put together at all. But she is definitely like Biden, kind of. Biden very much controlled. I mean, it's obvious that guy he's the first puppet that ever needed strings to move. But but now she's just an extension of that, it seems like to me.
Mm-hmm. I can agree with that. He was always such a jerk back in the day. It's weird how they managed to keep those old interviews and stuff.
Who, Trump?
Off. No, Biden. Like he was always, wanting to keep segregation in schools and stuff like that. Like,
yeah. What did he call? He called black people like filthy animals or something.
Yeah, it's like, don't you remember this guy? It was, and he was so embarrassing through when he was Obama's vice president, and now he's just so goddamn old. This whole thing is so bizarre. One thing though, on a conspiracy level that muddies the waters. I was seeing she dated Montel Williams.
Right.
For a while. And there is a famous picture of her with Montel and maybe even some other chick. But
some other chick. I've seen that. Yeah.
Right. He's got on his leather pants. Okay. Montel. And I noticed lately they've been chopping Montel's head off and putting P. Diddy's head on there and goes, look, she hangs out with P. Diddy, and it's like a bad Photoshop. And it's like, and then I saw a lot of people sharing it like on my social media, people that are friends of mine on there. And that kind of thing undermines any kind of truth movement or anything, or because it just makes conspiracy people seem wacky and passing on misinformation. I think it's important that they want to look, these guys are passing around misinformation. Mm-hmm. And so they put out these bad Photoshops and whatever and just cause all this dissension. And but yeah, that was wrong. It was Montel Williams that she.
Yeah, there's the photo. She was kind of a piece of ass back in the day.
Yeah.
Kind of. Still
and she was
Montel. She's definitely the uglier of the. She's the one that gets to hold the camera later. She's definitely not the one that gets banged.
She's the unicorn or something. Yeah. That's what they call the swingers when they have like a third little pet.
Yeah, she's just kind of there. But yeah. Well, and quite honestly, I think they're putting out enough of the misinformation with the Diddy thing.
Yeah.
And again, now we're going to go down this road.
Yeah, let's talk about P. Diddy.
I think the reason that they're putting out so much weird information and so many different stories and so many versions is because if Trump gets in and really decides to go after him and release the names and everything, they want all this deniability already out there. Yeah. So that people are already convinced that, well, this guy knew P. Diddy, but he wasn't really, fucking 3-year-olds or whatever their crimes are. So.
Well, Elon Musk was alluded that there's going to be thousands of hours of this party footage, which is like, yes, go on. We want to see the freak out footage, man. Come on, where can we see it? Yeah. No, Usher was one of the people allegedly that was pretty involved with all those parties, and it's interesting that he's working with Kamala. Doing all this press and promotion and stuff. Like there is connections. over there. Maybe that's why they put that fake picture of Diddy so that people go, there is nothing. That picture was fake, and they don't whatever. No, but maybe there is. When you look at the same network of people that are involved with her campaign. But I really don't think any of that footage is going to come out personally.
I don't either. I think it's going to be just like Epstein.
Right. Maybe he would go, hey, yeah, I'm going to get to that. I'm going to appease all your requests, and I'm going to release all that. Just like he was going to release the Kennedy, stuff. Please. I mean, no, they never do anything. They just tell you they're going to do it. And then everybody else says that echoes that. Yeah. And then the term's over. 4 years goes by and nothing happens.
Well, and just like with Epstein, and again, I'm not hammering Trump. I don't know his personal life from shit, but I know this. He was definitely hanging out with Epstein for a while.
Right.
And he was definitely hanging out with Diddy at some point.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not to his advantage to put all this. And I'm definitely not saying that Trump was, banging the Kardashian sisters at the fucking Diddy parties or any of that. I'm just saying that he was ingrained into that world, and they're trying their damnedest to not let that touch him, to get him elected. But once he gets elected, it's going to be just like Epstein. It's just going to all fade. Look, when Epstein, if you just go to your TV and you type in, if you have a Roku, type in Jeffrey Epstein, you will get 400 documentaries that'll load up. I mean, quite literally, 50 documentaries. I mean, literal number that will load up, available to watch right now. So at one point, that story was so hot that everybody needed to cover it. Where is it now? Jizzbag, whatever her name is, Ghislaine. Ghislaine is still sitting in prison waiting to tell her story. Who gets this long in between getting arrested? And it's been years.
Yeah.
It's been years and we still don't have a trial date? Get the fuck out of here with this shit.
Right. The child trafficking thing is a huge deal that so many people are involved in, and it's just so much on a bigger level and over the heads of a lot of people that maybe even want to do something about it. And that part's probably the most frightening, about it.
Well, and again, I'll go down the conspiracy thing, and you follow up with it because you follow it way closer than I do. There's so much power, financial power in Hollywood, and they're all somewhat involved in this in some way, shape, or form, that it's not to anybody in power's best interest for it ever to come out.
Right. They do. Some of these lower level people get busted for child pornography or something.
Sure.
I was going to look up somebody I saw today that just went down for child trafficking, where I was kind of surprised. It was I'm gonna try to look that up.
Isn't that what they always do, dude? They always, when they're trying to end or cut off a story, they throw some low level fucking guy out there. You're not going to see, I love all this internet stuff on X and whatever that says, I'm waiting for Jay-Z and Beyonce to go down. Jay-Z and Beyonce aren't going down. You know who it's going to be? It's going to be rapper LL I've never heard of that goes down. Here
we go. Here we go. I found it pretty quick. Former Abercrombie and Fitch CEO Mike Jeffries arrested on federal sex trafficking charges.
Wow.
Yeah, he wasn't government, but Abercrombie and Fitch's, that's a huge
company, but he's a faceless name at a huge company.
Right. Exactly.
You're not going to see, I don't know, Robert De Niro, or probably more likely Leonardo DiCaprio.
Right.
You ain't seeing Leonardo
But all these names
DiCaprio.
do come up. You hear about these names.
Mm-hmm. You hear about them and then you don't. Then it just goes quiet. Yeah. It's like,
I think I sent you the I don't know if you can find it because it's pretty interesting to watch, but the Angelina Jolie talking about her initiations into the I guess the Illuminati, you would say. I sent it to you in a text, and I don't know if you had to actually click the link.
Yeah, I did
to
watch
but
it.
was,
I'm just trying to see if I can't find it real fast on like YouTube or something.
she talks about, you know, they have to take her there. They do like sexual torture to you, and how some of the people can't handle it, you know, but they basically get sodomized and to get into this club. And it doesn't surprise me if most of the mainstream actors and actresses out there go through some ritual like that.
No.
Especially the ones that have the duration in Hollywood, like they manage to keep getting the movies and they're not, there's probably tons of actors and actresses that are better suited for the role, but it's always this same group of actors and actresses. It's like less than 100 of them that seem to prevail.
And you know what's the other thing that's weird about that too? And I totally agree with you that there's a method to it. And the way they're portraying the Diddy thing of, well, if Diddy fucked you in the ass, you get $100 million or whatever, like they're trying to portray with LeBron and whatever. There's a lot of actors out there that are quote unquote super, super famous that really haven't done anything. Angelina Jolie is a prime one. What has she really done? What's her big movie? I mean, she's considered the elite of the elite.
The one that was, I think, based off that video game where she
Tomb Raider?
Tomb Raider was maybe at her peak. She did the Tomb Raiders.
Yeah. But I remember Jade. Remember Jade with her and was that Nicolas Cage maybe?
Right.
You know, I mean, she's done movies. I'm not trying to say she hasn't done movies. I'm just saying there's not a Star Wars in there. There's not a Godfather in there. There's not a Goodfellas in there. Something that's massive and iconic. Same with George Clooney.
I thought she was, you know, at her peak. I thought she did have a special something. You know what I mean? She was beautiful.
Yeah, she's cute. I mean, very good looking.
She delivered her lines great. You know, watching this video of her talking about her satanic rituals, which it seemed like she didn't know it was being filmed on there. Seems pretty like not that smart and just like kind of, I don't know,
going through the motions.
Yeah, she wasn't even really making coherent sentences when she was describing it. But yeah, altogether, I don't trust any actors or actresses. And it's interesting how they're so entwined with politics and different drama going on in the world.
Yeah, I mean,
even Zelensky is an actor, which that's one of the most craziest things. I guess we do that here in the United States, but that the president of this country was like a full blown, Hugh Jackman kind of actor, from their country, and then they just go, okay, you're going to play the role of the president of this country, Ukraine, and we're going to bring us into this whole war thing and everything, whatever goofy stuff is going on in Ukraine. This guy has been placed in as the president of it, and he's an actor. We don't think of him as an actor because we don't watch Ukrainian TV or movies. But if you did, he was like a Hugh Jackman, level, guy out there. I mean, we did that with Ronald Reagan here.
Donald Trump.
And Donald Trump's like not as big of an actor as Ronald Reagan was.
Yeah.
Back in the 50s or 40s. I mean, Reagan had been around for decades doing acting, and that was crazy. But I was still young to really. I only knew like the old Ronald Reagan. I didn't really watch his old westerns and shit as a kid to really understand his star power of being an actor. But Donald Trump, certainly I've seen, is more like a socialite. In his real estate stuff, and they always kind of portrayed him as a mogul, guy in New York, and he was kind of handsome, rich kid or whatever there. But then he really got into acting too, I mean, The Apprentice being his biggest acting gig.
And he was on WWE.
Right,
he
tons
was
of WWE.
Wasn't he in The Hangover? Maybe one of those movies.
Yeah, he's definitely done his share of acting, and he clearly loves it. Was he in Home Alone? Nice.
Yeah, he was in either Home Alone or Home Alone 2. He was in one of them because the little kid runs into him downtown or something. Runs into Donald Trump.
I never really took him seriously, and I haven't voted in so long.
Right.
And I haven't voted for any of these past presidents. And when he got elected, I thought it was kind of funny, if anything, but I wasn't really taking it serious, and it was crazy how polarizing the whole thing is, to where like I mean, there's a serious hatred of that guy. That's like, I always thought he was a cheesy douche too myself, you know,
Sure.
but I don't hate him. Whenever it was amusing to me, if anything. I just thought it was funny, but how people were like, oh, this orange guy, and you know, they're just like, we hate him, we all hate him, and we will take us to hell in order not to have this guy here. But then they don't pay attention to like how what a cheeseball, you know, Biden was, or all his things he's guilty of, and mostly, you know, what he did with the Constitution, which was wipe his butt with it during this last 4 years. You know, and how it's weird how people can want more of something like that, more of the guy that totally forced them to get a terrible shot. That's irreversible.
Not only that, they want more of that. They want, how can you vote for this chick when all you got to do is go to the grocery store to see what she's going to bring you?
Right.
How, you know, that's all you got to do is go shopping, you know, and you, or go to the gas pump. Mm-hmm. You realize what and Trump, I'm voting for that guy because I'm voting for my grocery store. Right. Honestly, I'm not voting for Kamala or Trump or any of them as people. I'm voting for groceries and gas. That's it, and jobs. Yeah. You know, that's it. But I am a huge believer that what's been going on since Obama, Trump, Biden, now Trump again, or Kamala, whoever it's going to be, is proof positive of who the guys are that have deep thought and who the most of the rest of the world is that have nothing but surface level ideas that can be easily manipulated. What is that project called where the mind thing that they say like Sirhan was taken by and whatever,
like the MK Ultra kind of thing?
MK Ultra. Okay. Yeah. I am a believer, and I truly believe this. I'm curious what you think on this. That MK Ultra is an extremist form of just regular old TV.
Yeah. Well, they do use the techniques. The techniques that they learned through those programs, you know, are employed definitely through the television. But I mean, the internet is just, we're really get fooled by that, and the control that they have, and how it's really almost gotten to the point where your head will explode just trying to figure out what's real and not real. And they've managed to like basically squash anybody from sharing their story or whatever. They've got it to where anybody who's saying something damaging to the establishment, they can make sure that gets downvoted to oblivion immediately, and then all the bots comments will get voted, excuse me. So that stuff's all at the top. So you'd have to go pretty far. I mean, I use Reddit because that's probably the one I look. I'm part of the most sub forums on, and there's so many comments that just you don't even see them. They just get closed up.
Yeah, they get that green squatch or whatever.
It's just thing. Like, well, instead of
this
it
one's been
expanded
blotched to death or whatever. Right?
well, like some comments are expanded to where you can read the comment, but these will be actually just totally condensed to where you'd have to click on it just to see what the comment even was. And then, as far as replies, if a person's trying to defend themselves, you won't even see that because now that's it's just totally controlled. That's where I'm getting with it. They've figured this all out now that we've gone like full digital. They can just stop, and it's awful because the internet could have been an awesome thing for us to all continue to share information, but it's over. Like one example would be Facebook. Zuckerberg admitted that this current administration pressured the fuck out of them to like quell any kind of vaccine hesitancy, or anything like that. They admitted this, but you can look this up. Mark Zuckerberg goes, no, the government pressured us for that. And what he's talking about is, you know, all the people that had injuries or anything from the shots, they would take those posts down, or they would freeze your Facebook account. At one point there was friends and family of injured people, COVID people. And it was getting up to like 200,000 people that had, either themselves or a family member that was killed or hurt. And that it was getting bigger and bigger, and they just took that whole thing down.
Oh yeah. And they still do. Dude,
Right.
the funny thing is Zuckerberg came out and said it as a kind of direct point, but Facebook is still censoring like crazy. But now they've taken it to they used him talking about a specific instance to say, well, we're not doing that now. Well, now what they're doing, and I can speak to this firsthand because they've done it to me 400 times in the last 2 months.
Mm-hmm.
Now, when I try to post something that's on, say, Rumble and Substack, which are two of the ones that I use, and I use those very specifically because they're not edited, they're not censored, or they're a lot less censored. I don't want to say not censored, but
yeah,
Rumble is pretty. Other than porn, you can pretty much put anything you want on Rumble, and Substack, I don't know of anything you can't say. That being said, when I put this stuff up there now, and it just has a Rumble link to it, I get stopped at submitting it. It stops me and it says, this has been flagged for spamming and trying to get illegal clicks.
Yeah, I've been getting hit with that a lot for all kinds of stuff.
But if you change it to YouTube, then it'll take it.
Interesting.
Because YouTube will then take it down if it violates the narrative.
They might have to fine tune that automatic thing that it's doing, because it's not a person obviously deciding that. It's their algorithms, and I don't think they have, and they do use that for exactly what you're saying. But it was weird that I also had that happen for when I was just trying to put my subscriber page, like when I had advertised what our next Fright Bite movie is, which is a good segue for that. Cholo Zombies. We decided it was going to be the Fright Bite movie on Tuesday the 29th. I had put a picture of us. It was pretty cool. This time Chris is like the Undertaker holding the victim. I didn't make you the woman in this one. But where was I going with this?
Censorship.
So censorship. So I was going to, under the picture, put a link to my subscriber page, because it's a Facebook subscriber. This is all happening on Facebook, by the way. Yeah. So I put the Facebook thing, and it hits me with taking that down. I think I even put it on the Chris Akin Presents Facebook page. I cross posted onto there. So I tried to put it in there so they could come to this thing where they pay $1 and Facebook gets 25 cents of that dollar, so it benefits them, but they took it down. We pulled your comment because you're trying to get clicks. You're trying to make people go somewhere. I'm like, to make us both money, Facebook, you and me. Mm-hmm. It was weird.
I certainly think the algorithm needs some work, but certainly I get it almost every single time I put a Rumble link. Almost every time. But again, I think my account, my personal account, and all my pages have been long since flagged and shadow banned and everything else. I've had the same 6,000 followers on what media, on Facebook, I guess it is, on the Facebook CMS network page. It's been 6,061 followers for at least a year. Now, you're going to tell me, with me doing 10 different episodes of a show per week, plus all the other shows that aren't involved with me, we haven't gained or lost a single follower? Not one in a year?
Yeah.
Fuck out of here with that.
I lost it was interesting. I don't know what caused this, but I'm trying to build my subscriber page, and I lost 2 people this week, and I'm not sure if it was something I had said, or if they died, or who knows. But I was like, shit,
it could just be a credit card expiring.
Yeah, that could be it. I am starting to see more followers of my regular Facebook trickling in, and on Instagram and stuff.
Sure.
That's been a real slow process. I've had, again, probably about the same, 6,000, almost 7,000 subscribers, but it's just slowly coming in more. I thought I was being somewhat shadow banned. Now my regular Facebook is more unifying content. if you will. I don't put really any conspiracy stuff on there or anything like that. It's just my cats and my band. And I think they're obviously aware of that. And they always reward me with the rising creator status of being a content person. But it is tough. Like when I do videos, it's hard. It seems like they throttle them. We'll start getting people been loving this video, and then all of a sudden it just stops at a certain number of thousands of views, and all of a sudden it just stops right there, and nobody else sees it because they want you to pay money to like promote it to more people.
Right.
It's a little goofy. It boosts. Like I've been getting some money from my page. The photos seem to pay the most at the end of the day. The video, they try to like get me to like put enough content that 60,000 minutes of viewership has been achieved within 60 days, which is a tough order, especially when they're throttling shit. And I don't want to be a maniac that's posting 30 videos a day. It's like people, my people probably unfollow me after for that. There is like a sweet spot in there, and they kind of tell you that it's like about 2 posts a day is like that. You don't want to really go more than that, or people will get bummed out. And if you don't do that much, it's not going to put you into the circulation. So they kind of control us in a way with that.
Dude, let me just give you a suggestion.
Okay, please do.
Sign up for a Substack page and just upload your page. Don't even promote it, but just use it for this purpose. Or you can promote it. I love Substack. I think it's the best forum of anything that's out there. Better than Rumble, better than YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, all of it. I love Substack because it's all inclusive for everything. It does a podcast, it does the video, everything. But when you post up a video on Substack and you save it, one of the things it does, it has a button that you can share your episode, and it automatically creates between 8 and 16 shorts, call them shorts.
Okay.
That are under a minute long.
Like a reel.
Like a reel or a short or whatever, which you can just push download and upload them. So you could upload like you do anyway. You could upload the show each week, and then it'll automatically create you 16 1-minute little segments that you could schedule throughout the week to give people a taste and lead them.
Is it good at figuring out which segments are? Does it make sense? The cuts it does. Is it like AI does it?
It works. I mean, are there some that are a little squirrely? Of course, but sometimes,
because that would make sense, because I've seen you post something once in a while and I go, did he really pick that as the thing?
No, I don't pick any. I just put it all up there. I don't give a shit.
AI or something.
I let it do it. It does a pretty good job of it.
That's cool.
Not perfect. It's not perfect, but dude,
when you're busy, that's a perfect thing for you because you got a lot of content.
As opposed to going through each episode and saying, okay, let me get this segment and let me, and especially for our shows where they're long, like this will be an hour, hour and a half, whatever it is. Then what? I'm going to go through an hour and a half looking for 1-minute clips?
Right.
Now let it find 16 of them and then I'll pull 3 or 4.
I was going to say every gig I did this week, people were coming up to me saying they watch our show.
That's great.
And so that was kind of cool. I'm definitely noticing an uptick in that in the last couple of months, whether they're writing to me on Facebook or also on Instagram, when I'm seeing them at the shows, they're saying it too. And I told one guy I would give him a shout out. His name is Wes.
All right.
And he was at the Biloxi show, says he watches the show and he loves it. And so I'm going to give you a shout out. And so there it is, buddy, because I keep my word.
Now keep on watching, Wes. I get those messages all the time. People love this show, man. They love the fact that we're not doing CMS. That's one of the things, and they like hearing your story. I think more than even that, they like the fact that you're telling stories that they won't hear anywhere else. On any scenes. Because there's a shit ton of rock stars that are doing podcasts. But they only do the good stuff, really. They're only like, hey, here we are in this town and it's a sold out show and look at this great venue we're playing and it's wonderful. And then you come in and you're like, look at this fucking snot that's rubbed on the wall behind, and on the plate in the microwave.
Right.
You know, and that's the real. That's the real that they can't get it, that regular folks can't get anywhere else. I know that's why I wanted you to come on the show in the first place, was to tell the real. And I think that's why people watch it, is they enjoy hearing the real stuff and realizing that maybe it's not the 1988 driving around in a limo with the pool in the back. You know, it's just not that life anymore. It really, I don't think it really ever was it? I don't think so.
It appeared that way if you bought Motley Crue Uncensored as a teenager. Yeah. Like, wow, you don't drive around every day in a limo with girls in a jacuzzi that's coming out of the back of it.
Right. Or if you watched Kiss Uncensored, here comes Paul Stanley with like 18 women in the bed at the same time. And stuff.
Yeah, like, oh, you don't have heads of women, trophy heads all lined in your house, but they're actually alive still.
They're just sticking their heads through to amuse you.
Yeah, like when Paul's all, you and you switch over. Like they switched their head positions where they were coming out of the wall. That blew my mind as a kid. I did really think that was what you could get if you achieved like a rock star level. Like I thought that was really his legit house. Was it, or did they just make that for the thing?
They of course they made that for the thing. That was,
but I was like, somebody has it at their house. It looks like. I mean, it looks like they had
probably
slots.
A Hollywood thing. It was a Hollywood. It was a stage.
They built it. They took the time.
They built it for the video, of course.
It looks pretty legit. A lot of money.
It did look legit, but
can we find that video? Because there's people that probably don't even know what the hell that is, and it is a visual thing. Kiss Exposed. Maybe there's a short clip from the. But that was one of my favorite videos from that time. VHS tapes to watch, where I had Kiss Uncensored. My dad, as I told before, had multiple VCRs, so he was able to like record the VHS tapes. So anything that we rented, he was able to dupe it. And I'd be able to have it as a copy. And Kiss Exposed, Motley Crue Uncensored. I remember I had like Iron Maiden videos, which we should mention. Rest in peace, Paul Di'Anno. Yeah, that was a super bummer to hear. Getting the news of that yesterday. What was some other heavy metal videos? I had Dio live, Rainbow in the Dark, maybe.
Oh yeah. Akin, Unchain the Night.
Yep. There was Rat the videos.
All right, this is not a real good video, so I don't know how good this is, but I think you can see the women as it scans past here. You can see the women's heads here. Hold on a second.
Bedroom. I mean, it's not the whole thing, but he calls this the sleeping quarters.
This is amazing. You got that over here?
There they are.
Yeah, they're like standing behind the wall, their partition or whatever that is, and they're actually sticking their heads through this thing.
Their heads through, looking around.
It's bizarre, right? It was a bizarre thing to see as a kid. Now, when you're like, if you watch porn, they have like kind of stuff like that, a glory hole.
I was going to say, this is the first glory holes. Those are the first glory holes of all time.
I've seen weird. I don't know if it's in Prague or whatever, like somewhere, some dirty movie or series where like these guys walk in and there's, stuff like that. Like there's people, the chick's heads popping out here or just her butt,
right?
Or whatever. And they're just all going through there and using them all up, and it's pretty gross. Most porn nowadays is pretty disgusting, but
that's why I just watch the amateur stuff.
It's pretty. That was just very similar to that. That was like my first introduction to such debauchery.
I can remember, you know what I remember most about that specific scene? As I've talked about on all the shows many times, my mom was a big rock chick. So she was a lot more lenient than my dad. As far as like, from the earliest moments I had all these tapes and, albums and whatever that were kind of dirty, because the 80s were kind of dirty.
Yeah.
And but I remember her being wildly offended by that. Like I was watching it. I was like, I always had to, like when I had those tapes or like MTV or whatever, I had to watch it before my dad got home because if I didn't have a TV in my room, and obviously my dad came in, he did not want to see Kiss or Motley Crue. He wanted to see the news and whatever movie or whatever.
60 Minutes.
Yeah, exactly. That's what he wanted. But I can remember watching that tape, the Kiss Uncensored.
Kiss Exposed.
Or Exposed. And I'm watching it. My mom was in there kind of watching it too because she liked the tunes. And she's watching, and all of a sudden that scene comes on, and she's like, "What the hell is this you're watching?" I was like, "What?" And she's like, "Turn that off." And I was like, "What's the matter?" And she's like, "That's just not appropriate for you. That's for adults." I was like, "Okay." Meanwhile, she let me listen to like Eddie Murphy Raw and stuff like that, but she was offended by the heads on the stage, the women being reduced to loose heads or whatever.
My parents, they seem to be okay with pretty much anything up until I started listening to some heavier bands that had more somewhat satanic imagery, like when I started getting like Slayer, South of Heaven or whatever. They started getting nervous, and now I've always liked the horror aesthetic and stuff. To this day, I have skulls on my wall in my office here and stuff like that, and I think it was more that way, but I could see where parents would be concerned that they have a demonic child or something.
Oh yeah.
I think one of the things that really pushed them over the edge is I took one of my sister's Barbie dolls and I like mummified it with tape and then I had it like hanging by its hair, and I had like taken a soldering iron and had like melted the eyes out of it and like made all this blood and stuff and had it like just kind of dangling as like a weird mummy. Like, and I think if anything, I was just trying like special effects. I mean, I didn't, certainly, I don't have any problems with women or derangement and that thing. As you guys know, I'm usually in a relationship anymore. No, I've always had pretty normal relationships, you know what I mean? And I'm not like somebody who goes to weird clubs or, I'm pretty boring actually.
Right.
To some people's disappointment. Even though my image might be whatever, it's just an image, and it's just something that I always enjoyed. Like even as a small kid, when you get like coloring books that you could do your own thing. One of the coolest things I had as a little boy, I had an easel. That had a big paper thing where you could draw big pictures on it.
Right.
And oh man, my favorite thing to do was just draw monsters. Okay. Like I would try to draw the most hideous monsters I could think of.
Nice.
And this is when I was like, 6, 7, 8, 9. And I could see where, you've seen in the movies and stuff where the kids drawn, crazy pictures like, look what Tommy drew. He's in trouble. We need to, whatever. But I really didn't have a problem. I wasn't a psychotic kid or anything, but I just loved that kind of shit. And it probably was a reflection of them letting me watch stuff I shouldn't be watching because growing up in the 70s and 80s, I watched all that just like Chris and probably many of you guys. Like they had scary shit on TV all day long.
Well, that was the popular stuff for a while. I mean, until Star Wars. If you go back pre-Star Wars, it was always kind of monster stuff. It was Mighty Joe Young. It was King Kong. It was Dracula and Frankenstein. And
those old movies. It seemed like those were totally okay to put on when we were kids in the 70s. If it was an old black and white movie, it wasn't too scary. Like you could put it on, but it was scary. A lot of it was scary. Vampires getting wooden stakes in the heart. Even if it was in black and white, there was blood and biting and.
Yeah, and do you remember the movie The Hand? I think it was called The Hand.
Yeah,
it was black and white, and the hand just went around choking people. It was just a severed hand. And it just went around choking people.
Didn't go around finger banging people.
That's the porn version. Right. That's probably out there on Pornhub right now. The Hand Part 2.
The finger.
The finger. Nice. All right, dude. I hate to cut this one short, but we got to cut this one short. Where are you going to be, my brother?
Right. So if you're in Indiana, I thought I was playing the other Nashville, but no, we're playing Nashville, Indiana, the Brown County Music Center, and I believe it's with our bros Quiet Riot.
Okay.
So cool. That's going to be pretty awesome. Flying out in the morning, and then we got King of Clubs. That's just like a headline show at Columbus. And we're looking forward to it. So I'll take off tomorrow, do those 2 shows, and then it's the Fright Bite.
That's right. Tuesday.
We'll probably give you a couple minutes free of that, like we did last time, just to let you kind of see what you're about to miss. And you need to head over to the Caps Locals, become a Caps Local. That way you get all the network shows. But if you want to do something cool for me, please come to my Facebook, find my little subscriber group, or ask me for it. I'll send you the link. It's only $1 and you're in for the Fright Bite. And we encourage you to like joke around with us and, make fun of the movie along with us.
Not us.
Right. With Count Cracula.
Me and Count Cracula.
That's
You're not
right.
invited.
No, I'm going to go do some shopping or whatever while you guys are doing that. Some of my Halloween shopping.
Right.
And it's also like a kind of late Chris birthday show.
It is, because my birthday is Sunday, I think. 27th.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Yeah, Sunday.
So we'll have to have a little like belated Fright Bite birthday for our buddy Chris here.
Yes. Can't wait. I
So
cannot wait to...
Cholo Zombies. This is going to be so fun. This is like Count Cracula's favorite holiday. So don't miss it. And for $1, you can't go wrong. And as I said, just to throw what's the benefit you get, Eric, besides the Fright Bite? Every gig I do, I'm doing a full, it's at least 4 to 8 minutes of all the highlights of getting to there and the show and behind the scenes and stuff like that you don't get on my regular Facebook. So you will get stuff that nobody else is getting. Plus all the content, the shows I do. Stoic Steve's going to be dropping some more Cooking with Stoic Steve. The Sea Glass Hunters is going to fire back up. So it's a ton of stuff. Please join up and don't miss out.
Yeah, it's a fun watch. And I'm not just saying that because you're my partner in this. I watch it. I do watch it. I watch it pretty much every weekend. Every weekend for sure. I always watch hey, here's Erik, countdown to Biloxi or wherever the hell you are.
Yeah. My road to Biloxi, Mississippi. Like my road to Destin. And
the funny part is you always look angry.
Oh yeah.
You never look happy. You're always like, here I am, another fucking airport.
Oh my God. It's so taxing. Like the whole thing is just awful to where you can really go, that's living the dream.
Yeah. Some dream.
Getting food carts smashed into your kneecaps and, spending hours stuck in a tiny seat getting elbowed and slept on. And,
right.
And these goddamn shuttle buses and shit. It's terrible, but it's all for your amusement. And so I do film myself getting there and I'm trying to do more and more behind the scenes. I don't want to step on Jason Green. Everybody loves Jason Green's show and I don't want to be doing the same thing he's doing. So if he's filming, I usually turn my shit off and out of respect or whatever, let him do his show. And I try to get stuff that he doesn't have.
Right.
But it's some of it's similar to that, but different because it's me. You're getting me doing all this. So,
and Jason's is more an expose of the town and the weekend that you're spending, where yours is just kind of here I am, I'm traveling. Now I'm in this room. This room's a 4 out of 10. Look at this fucking broken chair. That's kind of where yours kind of goes to. Yours is a little more gritty.
It's gritty. It's just a man on the scene, showing you the real deal of it. That is one cool thing he does for his show. He always knows where we're going and looks to see if there's any sites he can go around to go show you a famous attraction or something, which I never have time to do that stuff, but he'll stay in town an extra day to do it. But he has the subscribers, he was put on the maps years back, with the whole Bobby Blotzer thing, kind of put him on the map back then. And during the pandemic, when viewership was very high for all podcasts, people were stuck at home looking for stuff to watch. And he really built a fan base around that time, where I started getting into this year, just when I saw people making fraudulent subscriber pages for me and fraudulent fan pages. So that I'm getting into this way late. There's no way I'm going to get a big, that's why I'm not really even on YouTube. It would take so long to get a thing. I already have 7,000 people on my Facebook. So I chose to do a Facebook subscriber page. Yes, it costs $1, but that's really nothing compared to what you get. Yeah. And it is cool to know you're supporting an artist directly, right? Through other than some corporate bullshit. So
exactly. All right, well, that's where Erik will be. I, of course, will be in all my haunts. I'll be with Seth tomorrow. I'll be with Neely on Saturday. I'll be, with Seth again Monday, and I will be right back here with Count Cracula on Tuesday for Fright Bite. So tune in, mellow out, and smoke weed. That's what I say.
Turn it up.
Turn it up. All right, we're getting out of here, everybody. Thanks so much for checking it out, as always. And for Chris Akin Presents, I am Chris Akin.
And I'm Erik Ferentinos.
And we're gone. See ya.
Mohawks fighting wild, beach Miss and West living like a child. Chris ate those crickets that he's in hell. Dreams of bacon and cheese, now he fell. Erik's gone, SF1 screams loud. Guitarists echo through the crowd. Chris trapped in flames, crying out why. Hell's fire's burning till he dies.
Charlie Kendall's Metal Shop is now available on demand. Go to Mixcloud.com/Metal Shop and you got us. The latest Metal Shop shows in their entirety, absolutely free. Metal Shop, the only